You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Unfortunately, you're the only one who can pull this off. I don't make the rules. I wish I did, but I don't. Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. Good. As long as you remain focused on your goal, it should all be smooth sailing. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Please, come downstairs.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end. You bring the blade down to strike at the princess's heart, but she's fast. She ducks to the floor, your blade narrowly grazing her backside. Slaying her won't be easy now that she's free.
We could have gotten out of here together. Were you just lying to me this whole time? I don't know what's come over you, but if I have to kill you, then I'll kill you. Do you think I need both of my arms to do that?
She pounces on you with the same animal ferocity she used to tear through her arm. But you have a weapon. You raise the blade, digging it under her ribs, aiming directly for the heart. It's not enough to stop her. You feel her claws in your throat, then her teeth, somehow sharp enough to pull apart your flesh and sinew with ease. You collapse to the floor, your body unresponsive as your blood pools on the ground beneath you. She stares down at your ravaged form, eyes shining in the darkness, dress stained in red as her blood and yours both seep into the fabric. If we're lucky, the wound you managed to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, it will kill her before she can reach the outside world. It can't just end like this, right? As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Don't worry, you can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the muddy shelf, the blade sitting on the muddy shelf, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror, but he says there isn't one. That's got to count for something, right? Come on now, he's pretty much in charge here. When have authority figures ever lied about anything? If there were a mirror in this cabin and we were supposed to look at it, he would have told us about it. Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? That you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. Well, at least we can all agree now that there's nothing to see here. Case closed. Good work, everyone. You take the blade from the shelf. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Well, if we're grabbing a weapon, we should probably keep it hidden behind our backs. She doesn't have to know we have it. That's not actually a bad idea. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick, and wet as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. Silence, I see. Don't think I've forgotten about you. I recognized the sound of your nervous little footsteps as soon as they came into my home. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, one hand tucked away behind your back, gripping that sharp, sharp blade, no doubt.
That's no fair. How would she know that?
So, we've dropped the pretenses. Good.
You made a comment back in the woods about having been here before. Now she's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh, no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
Without uttering a word, you charge the princess. So much for finding an easy way out. I can't believe you're making us work for it.
Better a violent fool than a plotting coward. Better for me, at least.
As you close the distance, readying your strike, the princess's chain falls from her wrist. She takes advantage of your split second of surprise and throws a fistful of dirt into your eyes. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. It's a shame we're playing opposite teams. This is why you couldn't just abandon her here. Left to her own devices, she would always find a way out. Now stop her.
You must have known I would be ready for you. Deep in your heart, you know the same things about me I know about you. We're both so very awful.
As you brush the silt from your eyes, the princess tackles you, flattening you against the dirt floor.
We were always going to kill each other here, weren't we? I can't trust you, and you can't trust me, and those doubts spin and spin and spin into hate.
She buries her teeth deep into your chest, tearing at... Right, she's distracted. Stab her in the back. In for a penny, right? Why not? As the princess rips meat from bone, you plunge your weapon into her unprotected back.
Ha, you bastard! Even face to face, you find a way to stab me in the back. I know you, and you're hideous. Absolutely wretched. Just like me.
Maybe we are the same. So what? Throw her off us, kick her in the shins. We don't have to fight so dirty. Of course we do. Fighting clean won't help us win. It takes a wretch to know a wretch, and we're all at the bottom of the barrel here. There's no point in pretending otherwise. Are we? At the bottom of the barrel. We've got dirt in our eyes and a chunk of us chewed out. If that's not the bottom of the barrel, what is? No arguments here. You're doing great. Keep playing dirty if that's what it takes. But if we win, we won't be at the bottom anymore. We'll have climbed a little higher. And once we start climbing, well, who knows where we'll stop? You'll stop right here if you keep daydreaming. Don't let yourself get distracted thinking about what comes after. None of us ever said we stopped fighting. What a low and vicious fight it is. Eyes gouged, skin scratched bloody, hair ripped and nails broken. Every rule there ever was in the Book of Honourable Combat, both you and the princess have broken 12 times over. That's nice and all, but are we winning? Nobody's winning. I thought playing dirty was supposed to give you the upper hand, but I suppose that doesn't work if you both sink to the same lows. Still, at least you're not losing. The princess cackles maniacally as the fracas continues. But behind her cackle, you hear the low groan of warping wood. Wait, what's going on? We're establishing a newer, better packing order. No, the groaning thing. Why is the wood making noise? Who cares about the groan? It's just a sound. Things make sounds all the time. I care about the groan. Doesn't that mean something bad is happening? Oh, yes, well, I'm afraid that's the sound of the basement getting smaller.
Do you hear that, you pathetic wretch? Those are the roots of the wild, and they're coming to choke the breath from your lungs and squeeze the life out of you.
Excuse me, what? You and the princess disengage for a brief moment, just long enough to get your bearings. Behind you, the basement door has been sealed over, thick roots barring your only exit from the dirt pit. And slowly, but very perceptibly, the roots are closing in on you both.
That's right. They're coming for you. And they won't stop until there's nothing left down here but them.
You attack the princess once more, and once more the two of you fall into a vicious brawl. The basement continues to shrink as you fight, but neither of you pay it any more mind. Not until it's too late. The roots twist around you both, binding your limbs and rendering you helpless. As your fates close in, all you can do is watch her, and all she can do is watch you. At first it's almost gentle, the two of you lifted delicately off the ground. But the cradle of the growing roots soon gives way to tightness, and that tightness gives way to bulging pressure as they begin to constrict. The sound of creaking wood is drowned out by the snaps and pops of your bones, pain flooding your senses as you feel your skin deform, being shaped unnaturally by the living basement. Tears well up in the princess's eyes, her own bones splintering and flesh swelling with trapped blood. But still she smiles through it all.
I can't wait to do this again, you wretched little thing. I hate you, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
The pressure is unbearable. You can't breathe, your vision swimming with red, your head pounding as everything tightens. And then you pop. Everything goes dark, and you die.
His gaze pushes against our borders, curling them in on themselves, preventing them from stretching to the places they need to reach.
No, that's all wrong. You're not a path in the woods, you're on a path in the woods. Who's even saying that? That's not the princess, is it? Oh no. How many times have you been here? I think this is our third? That's bad. That's very, very bad. It wasn't even supposed to reach 2. If you're at 3, well, No wonder things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Let's get our facts straight. What happened last time? What could you have possibly done for things to be like this?
The thing that sits beyond our edge speaks his logic into us. He tries to grasp at things that cannot be grasped. He tries to stare with wide pupils at that which can only be held from the corner of the eye or with a passing glance.
Shut up. The rest of you, talk. What happened? What did you do? Sure, there's no reason to keep secrets. Someone decided to go in guns blazing last time, and that someone got us killed. And what should we have done? Let you draw things out with all that conniving? Everyone knows a straight fight is best. It's honest. There's no need to bicker about it. I wasn't trying to start anything. I don't mind what happened to us. I kind of like it now that we aren't actively being crushed. Yeah, now that you mention it, this isn't so bad. And it's not like the fight is what killed us anyway, it was the cabin. No point worrying about who charged who when that place ground us all into paste in the end, the princess included.
It was a fitting end. I'm sorry if it hurt, but doesn't this make it all seem so small?
I see. So the cabin ground you into paste, and now you're convinced you're stuck together. What a mess.
He doesn't understand. We aren't convinced of anything, and we aren't stuck together. We're one. This is how we're supposed to be. Can't you feel it?
We can't go back to that. We can't go back to the doubting and the hatred and the schemes. Not after being something as beautiful as this.
Doesn't all that conflict feel so far away right now? So petty? We've been posed against each other by something that understands the strength of our unity.
Spoken like, honestly, a real puppet master. Have we considered that maybe she's the one trying to trick us?
I'm not.
But there's a feeling, isn't there? That petty feeling she mentioned, it is fuzzy, but it's there. Almost like she still hates us. It feels mutual.
Please, stop. If you pay attention to that feeling, we'll fall apart.
Don't look at it!
She's trying to turn you away from the truth. There's something she doesn't want you to see. I think you already know you have to look at it. Hold yourself together. We're no strangers to effort. We can push this back down. Something might do us in eventually, but I'll be damned if that something is a thought.
Please, don't make us remember how we were.
And just like that, you start to fall apart. Right, she really does hate us, and we hate her. It hurts thinking about us as separate things, but we're separate. We can't hate ourselves. I love me. We never got to see the end of that fight, did we? And we can't both be winners. One of us has to beat the other, right? I don't want to remember what it felt like to be killed. It was so much nicer when it didn't feel like it mattered. And yet you keep remembering. You remember the loathing and animosity you've shared with the princess, the pain and the anger and the betrayal. And you start to remember something else, too. You remember that you are a distinct being with a finite form and a mortal body. You can feel it. There is a shifting of the space around you, the infinitesimal movement of your molecules rearranging back into the shape of what you're meant to be.
Maybe bygones can't be bygones. I don't know why I ever wanted to share a body with you, of all things. It's like my very soul reeks of yours. That was horrible. This is better. Finally, I'll be able to hurt you like you deserve.
I wish I didn't have to.
Some division, when sown, can never truly be mended. A cavernous gash rips across whatever it was you thought you were. A cabin comes into being among the trees. It approaches, and it swallows your body whole. And then you find yourself, blade in hand, exactly where you need to be. At the center of it all is the princess, a wooden and fleshy heart beating with an unbroken rhythm. You're filled with a sense of purpose. Strike at her. End this once and for all.
Kill me then, if you hate me so much. Just get it over with.
This doesn't feel like a fight. This isn't what I wanted. Where's the victory in this? Well, this should be easy. If you're sure about it. I mean, what's the point of being king of the hill if there's no one around to be better than? We'd just be sitting on a hill. Do we have to do this? You have to. You know you have to. You raise the blade, taking aim at her heart. And then you strike.
I'm sorry.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? He is. Does that mean the world ended?
The world didn't end. We're still here. Come on. We just need to keep going.
We're top of the pecking order now. Right, boys? I'm begging you, don't do this. This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
If they think it's bad, I'm with them.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. How can the world have ended if we are talking? She is part of me, and part of me is her. My roots burrow in an ocean beyond your sight. We cannot harm each other as we are now. Nothing as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. Everything. Until we meet again. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. Good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Better to wash our hands of this whole situation than to take part in it. Ignore that annoying little voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. That's great to hear. As long as you bring that fiery attitude to princess slaying, I think this will all resolve splendidly. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't fortunately, she's only a princess, whereas you are a valiant and talented warrior. It'll be easy, so long as you stay focused. We can't just go through with this and listen to him. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. You take the blade from the table. The door to the basement, her voice.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the... She's so coldly beautiful. Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife, and the two of us just...
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face. Unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Note the lack of detail. You can't trust her.
Too long.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her. Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous? Ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less.
Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. That seems like a pretty good compromise. Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. You can make it easier for both of us if you help. And if you don't, I can promise that you'll come to regret that decision.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all our sakes it's the right one. You charge the princess, blade trembling in your hand, but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down. As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you, completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. You're here to... Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's... You know I can hear you. What does it matter? She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the... Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Of course we died. We couldn't land a single blow on her, and she broke every bone in our body before she decided to let us die. What were we supposed to do to stop her then? What are we supposed to do to stop her now? It's pointless. She's just a princess. Slaying her shouldn't have been difficult, but congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess killed us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she ended the entire world, why should we even bother? Just because she's capable of ending the world doesn't mean you're not capable of slaying her. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So chin up. I believe in you. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe. We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to be. If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here. The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small. Walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen. You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase, its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease. This is actually kind of nice. It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You've brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor, but we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember? Are you really just going to let that happen to us? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade. Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel. Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you told me I was destined to end the world. That thought wrapped itself around my heart. It has pulled at me since the moment I squeezed the life out of your broken lungs. I could feel its fundamental truth awaken me. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new, and the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for me to seize my destiny, and you, little bird, will help me seize it.
Well, that gives away the game, doesn't it? It certainly does, and beyond that, it more than lends credence to our conversation in the woods. I don't love the thought that in some other reality you failed to destroy her, but what's done is done. I can only hope it helped you learn a valuable lesson. You are the only one who can deal with her, and if you don't, well, she's let you know what will happen, hasn't she? Then you shouldn't have trusted us with her destruction. She is inevitable. Can't you feel it? He's being melodramatic, but he's not exactly wrong, is he? What are we supposed to do to stop her? Okay, first things first, you're going to have to stuff those pessimistic thoughts someplace far, far away and commit yourself to what needs to be done. The stakes of the situation should be perfectly clear to everyone now. And if you're going to save the world, you have to have faith that you can pull this off. You can't win a battle that you've already lost in your mind.
Know the limits of your privilege, little bird. There's an empty place at my side for you to fill, if you'll have it. But it is not a place for an equal. It is a place for something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet. I say, perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she wants. No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but we might as well pick up the blade. As your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer. You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand!
This one's easy. See? This isn't so bad. Okay, yeah. We can do that. We will You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce. The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come dragging out the long, painful seconds. But all silences are broken eventually.
To defy me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance. Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
What? You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this. Oh, we'll end this all right. Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her. Your body is sluggish and unresponsive, actively fighting against you, but you do your best to stagger forward. One step at a time, you move towards the princess.
Slitting your throat would have been a mercy, but it seems you're in need of a harsher lesson. Plunge that knife into your lungs.
I'm sorry. Don't. As you take another step forward, the blade digs into your ribs, slicing through flesh with ease. It somehow feels like an entirely natural thing to do, while the simple act of walking has become an arduous impossibility. Then it slides back out, the wound burning as a small hiss of air escapes through the fresh orifice. Blood fills your lungs.
Now, do it again. Keep doing it until I give you permission to stop.
Those are just words. You don't have to listen to her.
It's what she wants.
You, heroic one, what are you doing? Don't just let this happen. Stop him from killing you. I'm on it. Your other hand locks around your wrist, struggling to keep it from perforating vital organs. But the blade still flails towards you, managing to slice bits of skin that plop to the floor to join the growing pile of blood and gore beneath you. Despite the pain, you manage to keep yourself in one piece, at least for now.
What a pitiful display. A wounded little bird, thinking it can defy a god. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to hurt so much. You can choose a gentle end. You can choose to leave that punctured vessel for the next. Or you can pathetically struggle against yourself until the floor of this temple is painted with the bloody impressions of your futility.
You continue to approach the princess, even as the repeated gouges of your blade expose bone and muscle to the open air of the basement. You know, this would be a lot easier if you gave us a hand. My influence only goes so far, and I can only juggle so many things at once. The best I can do right now is to continue to drive you forward. Believe me, this whole ordeal would be so much easier if I didn't have to contend with free will.
You're the one making things difficult. You're the one making us hurt. She doesn't want to hurt us. She's just doing what she has to.
Stop.
As you finish crossing the room, you fall to your knees at the princess's feet, your chest heaving as your blood pools in the crevices of the stone floor, the coppery taste coating your throat. The princess kneels down, lifting your chin with her finger as her face lowers to yours.
Your devotion is misplaced. You've surrendered to delusion. But something about your defiant spirit speaks to me. You are different than you were before. Perhaps, if you've learned your lesson, I can spare you from the release of death.
That's a little demeaning, isn't it? Yes, how thoughtful of her. It's a mercy. Take it. I think he's given up whatever say he had at the start of all this. At least one of you is sane. She's within striking distance, and she's only negotiating now because she knows you have what it takes to put an end to her. Seize the moment before it's too late.
No.
Yes, though your body trembles, struggling to defend itself in the face of the princess's overwhelming will, you finally manage to break through, darting to her side before she can react. The wind of your freedom rushes through you, and you channel it into a decisive blow, stabbing into the soft flesh of her ankle and severing the tendons in an act of unyielding defiance. She falls to the floor, crashing unceremoniously to her knees. But you don't give her any time to recover. Your heart pounding with determination, you plunge your blade into her chest. As you find your target again and again, she laughs, crude emotion breaking through her once stony composure as your blade cuts her flesh. We can do this, can't we? You always could. The decision to give you this task was not made lightly. You're here for a reason.
It's not too late to pick up the pieces. It's not too late to toss that blade aside and beg for forgiveness.
Shut up.
I can't believe you would actually strike me. You
heathen! You worm! You defiler! You don't know the consequences of your arrogance!
Before you can strike the final blow, the princess lashes out, knocking you off your feet. There's an unsettling wet pop as your spine breaks, numbness and pain spreading through your body. As you rebound towards the ceiling in a moment of disorientated lightness, she drives her fist into your chest. Your body is crushed as she pulverizes you into the floor, the ground itself breaking from the impact. You lie there, broken, beyond pain, unable to even see what she's done to you. But the princess is succumbing to her own wounds as well. She looks down upon her body in abject horror and disgust.
You made me use my hands. I can feel myself twisting into something new, something dull, something defiled. What have you done to me?
You're monsters and conspirators. I can't bear to watch this.
The princess has been nothing but cruel to you. You should feel liberated by her fall.
But I don't feel liberated. I feel empty.
Aside from the pain, I feel fine. She collapses to the floor. Her glassy eyes watch, unblinking, yet somehow still full of anguish and fear, as the two of you perish together. I suppose we were never gonna get a happy ending here, were we? Don't let those be your final thoughts. You saved the world. That's worth something, I guess. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's finally over. Thank you. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of the path... Okay, what the hell is that? I think he's upset. What's he got to be upset about? We just killed a god!
Exactly. You heathens destroyed the most beautiful thing that ever was, and ever will be.
Can't say I have much sympathy for you. She was bad for us, and you almost got us...
You're being too generous. He did get us killed.
Alright, enough chatter. Got a thing I'm supposed to do, and if you don't mind, I'd like to do it without any more interruptions. Okay, great, you're listening. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a... If your thing is telling us about the princess, don't waste your breath. We know all about her. It's hardly a path in the woods at this point, is it? Look, if the world around you is changing, especially all the way out here, then that means you're nearing the point of no return. Whatever happens next, that's it. There won't be any more do-overs. So you'd better take things seriously. Good, we're all on the same page. It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up at the cabin on the hill. You'll find the princess within, as I'm sure you already know. End. That's it? No final words of advice? I'd rather not waste any more time. I'm sure that any advice I'd give at this point is something you've already heard.
If there's still a princess at the cabin, maybe we can salvage things. Maybe if we just grovel and apologize, things can go back to how they were before.
Oh, cut it out, will you? We need to be tough right now. You're making it so much harder than it has to be, so stop whining.
The interior of the cabin is a place that feels long forgotten. There was once an elegance to its construction, carved marble columns holding a high-arched roof, vaulted windows letting in the weak starlight. But that is how it was. Now there is a growth that has overtaken it. A viscous fluid seeps from cracks in the stone walls, and it congeals into chaotic streaks of writhing nerves and wet clumps of living meat. That's horrible. You did this. The only furniture of note? is a pulsating pedestal, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the pedestal. It will be good. Nothing feels better than gripping cold steel. A mirror? There is no mirror. There's the pedestal and the door to the basement.
Just tell us where the door is. I'd like to get back to fighting, and if you want us to kill her so bad, I'm sure you feel the same. No more messing around.
I don't know what to tell you. There isn't a mirror because I would know if there was a mirror. You're either seeing things or you're confused on the definitions of door and mirror. Or you're seeing things. That seems far more likely.
What are you trying to say, exactly?
He thinks we've lost it, that we're succumbing to madness, that something in us has broken.
That's an unnecessarily melodramatic way to describe a hallucination, but sure. I'm not going to waste time arguing with any of you. It went away after we touched it last time. Let's just do it again. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it. As if you don't see it. You really don't, do you? How strange. It really is just like last time. Are we really hallucinating? Why here? Why now?
Smash it. Smash it to pieces. It's the only thing keeping us from her.
Don't you want to know what we'll see in there? We won't be able to see anything if we smash it.
Nah, I'm with him on this one. Smash it! Let's get violent already.
Do whatever you want with it. The mirror isn't real, so how you handle it doesn't matter, aside from wasting dangerous amounts of time. You reach forward and drag your hand across the door leading to the basement. As if on command, it slowly slides open, scraping against the stone floor, its ancient hinges moaning as it reveals the dim path ahead. Why am I not surprised? You step forward into the darkness. The stairs leading down to the basement are at once both narrow and grandiose. A high-vaulted ceiling stretches up into a gloom beyond your sight, while walls wet with tumorous growths press in uncomfortably at your sides. You feel both unprotected and trapped, at once exposed and claustrophobic. The air is thick, its odor an oppressive violence, the metallic scent of fresh blood twisting with the nauseating embers of charred remains. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice, a bellowing rage, roars up the stairs.
Was severing the tendons of my ascension not enough for you? Was it not enough to rend my divine heart? Come, see the horrors you've wrought upon my flesh, and feel my hands set upon your throat. See how you've soured my once divine melody.
She's so angry with us. Why? Why did you desecrate her? Why couldn't I stop you?
You've got to stop thinking about her like that. It isn't doing anyone any good.
She's not some untouchable god. She's an abomination, and we're going to put an end to her once and for all.
Whatever she is now is our fault. If she's an abomination, then what does that make us?
She was going to end the world last time. If I might interject, you didn't make her into an abomination. She's always been what she is. It's why you're here, and it's why your task is so important. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. The chamber's walls are painted in blood, a deep, sickening red that drips down in clotted streams onto the charred corpses that make up its floor. This place reeks of torment, of ripped skin and burning bone. The princess stands in its center, muscles flayed and bare and weeping, draped in a tattered dress of her own skin. Her heart beats from its place in her open chest.
Do you know what I'm going to do to you?
There's not so much a moment of hesitation before she steps forward. Her chains pull taut, holding fast as she strains against them. The cuff around her wrist digs deeper into her skin. Blood drips from the place where metal meets flesh. And then, with a nauseating sound, the skin tears. It plops to the ground, and
she pulls her red, glistening arm free from her bindings. She is loose, and she is coming for you.
Let her end it. It's the punishment you all deserve for what you did to her. It's the punishment I deserve for letting it happen.
Screw that. We can win. We've done it before and we'll do it again, only this time we'll make it out the other side. Hell, she's practically done most of the work for us.
You'll try. And that's what I've been so excited for. Let's hurt each other.
Your heart free of fear, you charge towards the princess, your eyes locked on each other, both of you prepared to lay down your very essence in one blow. It's now or never. Let's make it a beautiful blaze of glory. With a horrifying squelch, you are unwound. No, that's our stuff. She can't just do that. She just did. Unfortunate, I know, but reality is reality.
You should all just be grateful she's decided to keep us alive. Even in her defilement, she is merciful.
We're not out for the count just yet. But the words don't leave your metaphorical mouth. Instead, all that leaves you is a wet and horrible gurgling as tissue vibrates out of place. Our metaphorical mouth.
You don't have the means to speak anymore, do you? How tragic. It is tragic, though, isn't it? I'm not satisfied dividing fear and indignation from your eyes alone. A quivering mound of flesh is no companion.
She snaps her fingers, and the basic form of a vocal system assembles before you.
Now, little bird, what was it you wanted to tell me?
Yeah, that's right. Tell her how dead we're going to make her.
I've made the mistake of underestimating your resolve before. Never again!
Before you can act, what's left of you explodes. So that's it. It's over, just like that.
Of course it's over. It's been over since the very first moment we laid eyes on her.
This is the final note of your discordant melody. You will not return again, because you will live in that single tone forever.
No! It's not over! We're a god killer! We've returned from death itself twice!
Didn't you hear her? We're not dead.
What's the difference? From many perspectives, there isn't one. But functionally, that is, from your perspective, the difference is massive. You are entirely laid bare, spread to each corner of the room. Yet you are wholly aware of the state you're in. Incapable of movement, but entirely capable of perception. In fact, perceiving your state is the only thing you can currently do. You are preserved, perfectly, in the amber of her torment.
We're more than this. We've lost bodies before. We just have to lose this one and make another.
Absolutely not. I refuse to let you just decide to die with your task unfinished. If you die here, the world is doomed. Your Honor, where the hell are you? Are you already at the Princess? This place is different. Rotten. Death all around us. I want to go back.
So you've returned already, and I remain here. Is this our final destination?
The Princess tilts her head to look at you, and with a gesture, you are unwound. Again? Already?
Clearly I left you with too much room last time. Perhaps this cell will hold you better.
You know what to do. Again.
Your Honor, she's
gorgeous. Absolutely divine. You, guy who describes things, you better start saying what we do this time.
And what are you?
Attacking her, obviously.
Right. You charge towards the princess and...
There is no spark in you, only matter devoid of life.
you explode.
Again.
You're on a path.
We are not on a fucking path. I have no idea where we are. We're in the middle of a fight, so act like it.
So you are. Okay, you dive towards the princess and we're unwound. Yes, her head swivels creakily on her neck, fire in her eyes as your body unravels with blinding pain.
No.
Again.
Your Honor,
No time.
yes, of course. Pristine blade grasped firmly in your hands, you fly towards the princess before she can turn to face you. You might actually do it this time.
I can feel that body of yours slicing through the air. How many more times will I have to scatter you?
As she turns towards you, the very essence of your being begins to flake away. Your muscles, then organs, then nerves laid bare and screaming as the rest of you is stripped of substance. Oh, boo-hoo. It's just a body.
It just needs to last long enough to sink this blade into her heart.
It doesn't last. You are disintegrated. Everything goes dark.
How many times do I need to pulverize you before you finally understand? You are nothing. An empty void that dared to dream it was alive.
That feels right.
If we're nothing, then why are we still here?
Because we always have been. If we're nothing, then how can we do anything? The same way we always have. Being nothing has never stopped us. Now end this. End her.
You cannot win if you cannot be. How? I've scattered the atoms you clung to and there was nothing there to find. You can't exist.
It's over.
Oh, I think I understand you now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do the things I did to you. I don't think I knew what I was doing.
She sounds genuine. They always do in the end.
It's cold, but I'm going to be okay, right?
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
You don't need to comfort them. Okay. If you say so, we'll trust you.
Maybe there'll be a good fight there. Maybe we'll find her again.
Whatever makes you happy.
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. Do not worry. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets. There is still much to be seen. Neither of us know the depths of our being. Perhaps at the end of this, I will be the one to kill you. Or perhaps we will leave this place together and find new horizons to discover. This one is desecration. She placed the weight of her agony on you, yet it is she who unwound herself. There is passion and empathy buried under her unfeeling skin. She will make for a weathered heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally found peace. Your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a prison.